Welcome to today's episode of the AI Trailblazer Podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest. He is none other than Srikant, the co-founder at Prioriwise. So Srikant, it's a pleasure to have you here with us on the show today. Let's start off with yourself. What is your background and what led you to start Prioriwise?
Thank you for inviting me, Bruce. It's lovely to be on the platform. My name is Shrikant Kshirsagar, and in terms of my background, I did my undergrad in India and then went to UC Berkeley for my master's and PhD. After that, I worked in Silicon Valley for a few years. I started by first working at a biotech startup in Silicon Valley and then moved to working at a big tech company and worked there for some time. So I've seen both ends of the spectrum, and my experiences led me to starting my own company to address some of the problems that I was seeing during my professional career.
Okay, got it. Yeah, can you share more about Prioriwise? What is the exact problem that it's trying to solve, and what is the target audience that it tries to help?
Sure, I'd be happy to share that. So Prioriwise is trying to help mid-size IT service providers to basically stop being stuck in the middle and grow their business sustainably. And the primary problem we are helping them solve is to help them grow their business with existing customers. When IT service companies are small, they're founder led and they are able to grow their business using just the founder's experience and background and expertise. But as they keep growing, they reach a point where the founder is not enough to scale the business and they need to have other systems in place that would help them scale sustainably. That is where we come in to help them grow their business in a more sustainable fashion and specifically helping them with their retain the existing customers, keep them happy, and grow their business with them.
Okay. Cool. So can you share like more specific examples as to how it helps these IT service providers to be able to retain their customers longer?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, IT service providers, when they start out small, they are built on the founders' expertise and relationships, and they're able to maintain a close connection with their customers. So, an IT service provider that we are currently in talks with, they were a few years ago a small business and had a handful of clients and were able to keep most of the clients happy with their services because the founders were personally involved in servicing the clients. However, as the business grows, it's not possible for the founders to be personally involved in each and every client account. And so the client interactions get delegated to the second or third tier of customer service who don't have as close relationship with their customers as the founders did, which ultimately leads to a little bit of dissatisfaction and problems with the service delivery. And sooner or later, the clients end up having to reach the founders themselves to resolve the issues. So the founders are stuck in firefighting mode, helping resolve issues with existing clients while simultaneously trying to grow their business, attract new customers, and scale to the next level. Research has shown that a lot of IT service providers get stuck in the mid revenue range, in the mid market size, and are unable to grow because of various issues relating to operation efficiencies. However, once they cross that chasm, they are able to grow sustainably because the systems and processes are in place that allow them to scale effectively. And so the big IT service providers have these systems at scale that help them deliver the services in efficient at a large scale. But the mid-sized IT service providers are not there yet. And so this is where we come in and we'll work with the IT service provider like the one I just mentioned to help
Mm.
them implement systems that will allow them to proactively monitor the client's satisfaction levels. And if there are any issues coming up, proactively address them before the clients get dissatisfied and end up leaving the company and going to a competitor.
Mm.
And by doing that, not only do they keep the clients happy, but when the time comes for renewing their contract, that they are able to upsell and cross sell more services to the existing customers who they already have a good relationship with, and so they're able to grow their business with existing customers. So that is what we primarily help with.
Yeah, makes sense. Then can you share more about what is your main roles and responsibilities as the co-founder at Prioriwise?
Sure, I'm happy to help that. My main role and responsibility is being the CTO of the company, because I have a technical background, and my co-founder, who lives in here in the Boston area, has a non-technical background. And so she serves more on the sales and marketing side, and she serves as the CEO of the company. So my roles and responsibilities include making sure that we are building the right product for our customers, determining the product roadmap, timelines and features, as well as maintaining existing versions of the product and proactively addressing any technical issues that arise with the product. I'm also responsible for getting client feedback, customer feedback on the product that we have currently, and using the customer feedback to drive improvements in the product features.
Okay, got it. So it's mostly about trying to improve the product and make it better to use for the customers. Then let's talk a bit about your goals for the company. Let's say within the next 6 to 12 months, where do you want Prioriwise to be at?
Thank you. That's a good question. So we have a current set of customers who are running a pilot with. And in the next 6 to 8 months, we see us growing with the existing set of pilot customers as well as getting more customers, mostly through referrals and organic marketing through word of mouth. And we see ourselves increasing our product offerings through the use of customer feedback, being very working closely with our existing customers and understanding their needs and pain points in detail, and building only those features and very thoughtfully that would have the most impact on their business.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned a bit about trying to grow the existing customers and new pilots, right? So what are the main channels that you rely on now? I know you said referrals and organic traffic. Could you expand more on that, as well as what has been the channels that have been working really well, and then those that hasn't been working as well as you might expect?
Absolutely. Happy to expand on that. So, most of our current customers come from connections that we have made through our own networks. Our primary source of getting customers right now is going to events and conferences and participating in them either as members, sometimes as sponsors, sometimes as speakers. And through that, we interact with a lot of customers, some of who end up working with us because we are a good fit for them, they're a good fit for us. We have a very strong process for figuring out which kind of customers we want to work with. And so that's been a very successful venue for us, is making connections to these events and conferences. And the Boston tech ecosystem is quite vibrant, and a lot of events and other networking related activities happening here all the time. So it's fairly easy to get a good selection of people to work with. And and then we also have people in these networks who refer us to other people so that we can chat with them and figure out if we're a good fit. So that's been very helpful as well. In terms of not something that's not as helpful and some with something we are figuring out in the process of figuring out and optimizing it, it's working to some extent, but we would like to have it work more, is outbound emailing, trying to figure out how to target the right kind of customers and people with the right kind of messaging so they'd be interested in chatting with us and figuring out if you're a good fit for them.
Got it. Yeah, so I wanted to touch more on the last part you mentioned, outbound not working. Why would you say that is? So I know you said something about the targeting and the messaging not being on point. So like what are the main metrics that you are trying to look at in order to improve your outbound?
Good question. So when I said it's not working, what I really mean is we are trying to make it it is working, but we are trying to see if we can make it work even better. So metrics that we're using to track success for that is how many connections, new connection requests are we generating, say per week, and then how many of those are converting to pilot customers that want to work with us, how many calls you're getting booked, and things like that. These are some standard metrics that are used in the industry, and we are choosing those right now. And what we are discovering as we are talking to more and more customers is not so much that the messaging is not landing, but more that different kinds of messages resonate with different sections of
Mm,
the customers in different ways depending on who you're talking with and what their role or title is at the company. So we are doing more personalization to be able to draft messages, to be able to tailor messages that speak to the persona that we're reaching out to,
mm.
rather than generic messages that will be sent as a blast email to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely makes sense. So now I want to touch a bit on what you said about the product as well. You said that there are some features that the customers really want. Is it possible for you to share with that more with the audience? What have been the most popular features that you've gotten from your customers and then you have implemented them into the product?
Okay. That's a really good question. Absolutely. I can share some features. Some of them are still in development, so I can't share all of them. One of the most popular features our customers have asked for is better visibility into the client engagement satisfaction levels. They currently have a smorgasbord of tools that they use, and different tools give them visibility into different aspects of it, but they don't have a single place where they can look at the overall client satisfaction level. So what we did is we helped build a kind of a central dashboard, if you will, that gives them real-time insights into how happy the customers are, how they're interacting with the services, and highlighting potential risks early. A lot of these um, companies have automated feedback collection processes, but they're not necessarily getting as much feedback as they would like. Using what we have built, they're able to gather signals from other sources that help them proactively identify issues before they escalate.
Okay, got it. Yeah, then now I would like to touch on some of the biggest challenges that you face while growing the business. What have been the biggest ones that have stuck out to you so far?
So that's a really good question. Also, running a startup is obviously not easy, and there's always the biggest challenges arise around balancing. And one of the biggest challenges we face in the beginning stages, not so much now, is balancing product development with customer acquisition. As you know, startups are always resource constrained, resources are always limited. So deciding how much time to spend improving the product versus reaching new customers versus doing other activities is tricky. And so that is something that we are refining our prioritization strategy as time goes on, but it has been one of the challenges. And then, in terms of another challenge that we have been working on quite successfully recently, has been refining our messaging so that it clearly communicates the value we bring to mid-size IT service providers.
I mean, I guess when it comes to balancing between product development and customer acquisition, as you said, another thorny issue that other founders in the space they also bring up is the scalability part, where if you bring on too much customers initially and then you're not able to scale as much as well. So, just something I wanted to add to that. Not sure if it's accurate
Absolutely.
for
Yes. Yes.
Prioriwise.
Yeah. So the way we are thinking about scaling is there's this famous blog post or article written by one of the YC founders saying in the beginning you should do things that don't scale intentionally to kind of nail down the processes and then worry about scaling once you have something that works. So right now we're not focusing heavily on scaling. However, the processes we do implement, we keep an eye out towards how would we scale this in the future. So we do consider that as well.
Okay, cool. Then you also mentioned a part about the refining the messaging. Just curious as to like how have you been on iterating on this process? What does the feedback look like to improve it?
That's a really good question. So we in our startup have been following this approach called the lean startup methodology from the very beginning. So our feedback loop is very customer driven. What I mean by that is we start by testing different versions of our messaging in real conversations with customers as well as outreach campaigns. And then we are able to track which ones resonate best based on the response rates and engagement. We also gather direct feedback from our customers during onboardings and check-ins to understand what parts of messaging connected with them, what was confusing, what was unclear. And then, we obviously see our customers interact with our product and see how they're using it and see, we get more feedback from that as to like what part of our value proposition or offering is making sense to the customers and what part isn't as clear. And using that input, we continuously refine our positioning and communication to make it clearer and more
Yeah,
aligned with the customer needs.
got it. Now you've touched on like quite a few different challenges already, be it from product development to refining the messaging. So I was curious as to, let's say, if you had only one magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now, that is either holding you back or slowing you down to get to your goals? What would that one thing be?
I wish I could fix everything, right? I mean, that's the dream. Every founder would want to.
Yeah, every founder would want. But if you can only choose one problem to
Yeah. So
fix.
if I had a magic wand, I could choose one problem. I would have to say it's customer acquisition. So we have built a strong product and are getting really great feedback from our pilot customers. Scaling that momentum faster would help us reach more mid-sized IT service providers who could benefit from our solution. So essentially, I'd want to shorten the time it takes to go from awareness to adoption.
Okay, then what have been the solutions or strategies that you've tried to look at to shorten this?
Yeah, so we have been looking at a lot of different options right now. One of the main strategies we've been focusing on is strengthening our referral network. Since our existing customers are very happy with the product and are engaging with us, we're encouraging them to introduce us to others in their network who they think would be a good fit for what we are building. Our customers are our best spokespeople because they are using our product, they know what it's about and they know what it's like working with us, and we often find that they are able to bring us the right set of people to work with. We're also optimizing our outreach by personalizing messages based on, as I mentioned before, industry segments and role, which has improved engagement. And lastly, we are exploring partnerships with industry associations, event organizations, sponsoring some events to again increase visibility among our target audience.
Got it. Yeah, seems like a very, multi-pronged approach, strategies in different areas. So now let's talk a bit about the broader industry trends. What have been the shifts in the industry that you're seeing, and then how is that impacting the growth of Prioriwise?
That's a really good question. I mean, the industry, AI is impacting everything
Yeah.
so much, and industry is shifting. There's practically no industry that's not touched by the impact of AI. One of the major shifts we are seeing in the IT service industry is this growing emphasis on using AI into their products to deepen the client relationship and emphasis on long-term client relationship rather than just project-based work. A lot of what used to be project-based work is now something that customers are able to get done using one or more AI tools themselves. So there's this shift from like doing project-based work to long-term client engagements. Companies are realizing that retaining and expanding existing accounts is way more sustainable than constantly chasing new ones because there's always new products, new services on the market, and the noise is so high right now. And it's really, really hard to stand out. And so that's what we're seeing when talking to our customers. And it turns out that this trend is directly aligned with our focus as our platform helps service providers strengthen client engagement and identify growth opportunities within the existing customer base.
Okay. So your way of mitigating that is, as you said, just trying to expand more within the client's business by, let's say, different value offerings or offerings to different departments within the same company. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So the way we're
Okay.
thinking about it is we want to help our customers grow their business. And you can, there are basically two ways to grow the business. You can grow your business by acquiring more customers and getting more, new revenue, or you can grow your business with existing customers. And the competition is getting really, really fierce in terms of getting new customers because everyone is out there pitching basically the same thing. It's hard to stand out. And AI
Yeah.
is making the playing field very level for everyone. And so what we are helping our customers do is expand their business by focusing on the existing customers and help them grow more sustainably so that they can get more value out of that. So yes, that could mean expanding to other departments, offering complementary services, also helping them solve adjacent problems sometimes. That's using a multi-pronged approach even here as well.
Okay, I see. Then for Prioriwise, how do you plan to stand out from the rest of your competitors in the market? Because as you said, it's getting more noisy, right?
Absolutely. This is again not specific to particular industry. This is a problem that's faced by everyone. So that's a really great point. What really sets us apart is our deep focus on customer retention and growth rather than just acquisition. Most tools in the market focus on sales or project management, but we focus on helping IT service providers proactively monitor client satisfaction and identify upsell opportunities. So our platform combines data-driven insights with actionable recommendations so that our customers can take timely steps to strengthen relationships with their customers and grow revenue from within. And so that is the one thing that helps us stand out from the competition.
Okay, got it. So it's the focus on retention instead of always new customer acquisition. Okay, so let's say moving forward now, what is the main focus or the priority of the business? Let's say in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, to give you a little bit of a preview of, we can't, we don't share everything, disclose everything publicly, but our
Yeah,
main focus right now is to strengthen our product based on the feedback we're getting from pilot customers and ensure that it delivers measurable value that actually has a good impact on their positive impact on their business. In parallel, we are also working on expanding our customer base, as I mentioned before, to referrals and strategic partnerships. Essentially, the overarching goal that we have is to scale thoughtfully, which means we want to grow our reach while maintaining the high level of customer satisfaction that defines our approach.
yeah, absolutely. That does seem like the business mission for Prioriwise.
Indeed.
So yeah, that is actually about it. Srikant, once again, thank you for the time and for agreeing to join us on this engaging conversation today. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot, and I hope that you have enjoyed your time here as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking all those thoughtful questions. I really enjoyed my time here, and good luck with your own company.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So, like, let's say if people they want to find out more about your business or what you do, what is the best way for them to learn more?
Sure. So you can learn more about us on our company's website, prioriwise.ai. You can share the link with your audience in the audience notes later on. We also have a LinkedIn page of Prioriwise where you can follow along for updates. Those are the two main places where we are most active. We are planning to also start using X or Twitter as used to be called, but we are focusing mostly on LinkedIn and our website right now.
Thanks for sharing. Again, a pleasure having you here.
Same here. Thank
Cheers.
you, Bruce. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.